Hello from me, Lazarus. Welcome to the next series of tutorials on Introduction to Lazarus IDE. As you know, currently we are working on my books in the video lessons. And now we are examining my third book, Introduction to Lazarus IDE Part III. As you know, it is offered in two variants, Basic and Full, which contains the Basic plus the real software system, My Store. Last time we finished Chapter 1, about the visual tables in Lazarus. We continue with the next chapters of Section 1, which cover 4 components. We have already examined them, but now we will examine them expanded, with many additional possibilities. The first of them is the component TStringList, with which we start now. And we will divide this lesson into 2 parts, theoretical and practical. Now, at the moment, we will examine the theoretical one. Here, we open the PDF file. In my first book, Introduction to Lazarus IDE, we got acquainted with this component, or it is rather in this case the class TStringList. It is not a visual component. We used it for storing SQL queries and we understood that it represents a structure, which keeps a list of text lines in memory. We learned which are its main methods, like add, adding, clear, clearing, count, number of lines, and which are its main commands for working with text files. But TStringList is much more than some list of words. In real programming, this is one of the most powerful and most frequently used classes for working with text. With it we can process complex data of the type of Excel files, to search quickly, to remove duplicates, and even use it as a small database. Before we move on to the new possibilities, let's remind ourselves the most important when working with it. Since TStringList is a non-visual class, it is not there as an icon in the palettes with components in Lazarus. We create it manually in the code, and since we create it manually, we mandatory must also free it after finishing the work with it, so we don't clog the computer memory. This is done through the try finally block in the following way. Here it is, in this part. So, here are the more interesting points, sorting and removing duplicate records. So, for example, if we have a long list, for example with 1000 names, and we want to arrange them in alphabetical order, it is not needed to write complex algorithms, because TStringList has a built-in property sorted. And, when we make it true, that is true, the list automatically arranges itself. But the most important here is the following option. When the list is already sorted, we can tell it to ignore repeating lines, through the property duplicates. But this property works only when sorted is turned on. Here I give example code. The next interesting thing is splitting text. Sometimes it is necessary to read from a file, for example export from Excel, which is merged with some delimiter, as for example here, the delimiter is semicolon. And, in order to get only the one value, the name, the city, the phone, years ago were written complex loops with the functions for splitting, copying. But, now TStringList does this automatically, through this property. We simply tell it which is the delimiter. In this case it is, we pass to it the text itself and it splits it itself. Working with key value. This is of a type for a simple structure like for program settings, and after that it can be searched by the name. Very interesting is the object property, so to say, the secret drawer. Both StringGrid as well as TStringList have such a one, through the object property. This is useful when we fill a drop-down list of type combo box, or list box with data from our database and the text. We show the name of the person, so the user reads it. And in object we hide his unique ID number from the database, so our program can know with whom exactly it works. This is all for the theoretical part and for this lesson. Best regards.